Greetings, this is Charles Darwin, and I'm here to talk to you about populations and natural selection. Now, populations are able to grow exponentially. That means they can grow real fast. And when they do, they almost always grow beyond the availability of resources, whether it's space to live in, or food, or any other kind of resource. And this is true of all species of organisms, whether it's bacteria growing in a broth, whether it's a bunch of weed seedlings that are growing real thickly and most of them get crowded out, or whether you're talking about wild animals, or whether you're talking about human beings. When I was on the Earth, there was about 1.5 billion people. As of the fall of 2011, there's going to be about 7 billion people in the world, a population of explosion, and humans are no different than any other species in terms of population explosions. Well, my insight, and this was also the insight that Alfred Russel Wallace had, was that since not all of the organisms can survive, the ones that do survive are those that have heritable characteristics that make them best suited to those conditions. And that is where natural selection comes from. And we both got it from the same source, by reading the works of Reverend Thomas Malthus in his essays on populations. Well, now this would seem to be indisputable. Who could possibly doubt that this would happen? We see it all the time. And yet, there are some religious people who do not believe it. They believe that everybody should have as many kids as possible, and we should fill the earth with as many people as possible, because God will always provide the resources for everybody. They actually believe that. Now, where do they get that idea? Well, they get it from the first chapter of Genesis, where God says, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." I think you can see that Genesis 1 does not say, have as many kids as possible. It says, fill the earth. Now, to demonstrate that point, I'm going to take some water from this pitcher and pour it into this glass. And I want you to tell me when the glass is full. Okay, I'm going to start pouring here. It's about half full. An optimist would say half empty. A pessimist would say. I'll keep pouring. Okay. Most people in a restaurant would consider this to be a full glass. Some people would insist that you actually pour it right up to the very tip, and perhaps even have the hydrogen bonds of the water cause a little bulge in the middle. And then you'd say, finally, it's filled. Well, have I filled the glass? How about now? Have I filled the glass yet? Is the glass full? Well, I think you can see the point that I'm trying to make by this. And that is that human beings filled the earth a long time ago. We can't look to Genesis 1 and say, it tells us to have as many kids as possible. No, it tells us to fill the earth. Well, we already did that. And so there's no point in continuing to have as many kids as possible. And that's what human beings are doing. It's not just a problem of population, it's also a problem of consumption. Some of the same religious people who say, have as many kids as possible, also believe that you should use as many resources as possible, drive big trucks around, have big houses, use a lot of energy, and have a lot of rich, calorie-rich food, for instance. And so, by doing both of those things, by overpopulation and overconsumption, look what we've done to the world. When I do this for students, they'll say, you made a mess. Look at the water you got all over the table, and look at the water that you got all over the floor, you made a mess. Well, sorry, but think about the mess that we've made of the world by overpopulation and overconsumption. And so I believe that one of the problems that we have in the world is that religious people are telling us we should keep having as many kids as possible, even though we already filled the earth. This is Charles Darwin. Tally ho, and amen.